Welcome back to all our friends, family, and yes, even our foes. To the Foxx and Sports Podcast, where Todd and his sports-passionate kids are ready to bring you the latest updates and insights on all things sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here are your hosts, Kellen, Garrett, Gannon, and coming to you from the Fox Den, their dad, Todd Foxx.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foxx and Sports Podcast, along with Kellen the Dog Fox and Clay Benchy, whichever, McDonald. I'm Todd Foxx. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to first start off talking about the Oklahoma Sooners and some of the recent pickups they've just made. I know today our Mason Thomas said that he would return, which is fantastic news for everybody. I think several people were worried that he was going to go to the NFL draft, but he's deciding to come back. And then Marvin Jones Jr., he's a defensive end, I think, isn't that right? From Florida State, played at Georgia as well. I guess he almost signed with the Sooners whenever he was coming out of high school as a 5-star recruit. We've got, Kendall Daniels from Oklahoma State, which honestly, that's a good signing. I think that's huge for us, linebacker for us. And then I saw a Josiah Martin, a wide receiver, 5'11", 170 pounds from University of California. He was a freshman last year. He'll be playing for the Oklahoma Sooners as well. So I think that's 4 receivers we've gotten in this portal. So what do you guys think about, all of them real quick, but definitely our Mason Thomas, how big is that for this Oklahoma defense?
I think it's big just to have one of our key pieces from this past year sticking around, because we've got a lot of changes coming on the defense, but I think he'll be able to be a leader with this new defense that we'll be running.
I think I think what Kellen said with the leadership, losing Stutzman as a defensive leader, having somebody like that everybody already respects. He easily could go to the NFL. He's going to be better by sticking around, but and then to add the guy from Florida State with already the guys that we got coming back, unless we just have a rash of injuries like we did the wide receiver room this year, I don't know where our defense is going to be incredible next year.
Yeah, I see no reason why the defense will be as good. Hopefully, as good as they've been. I know Kendall Dolby also will be back. I know he was a Tennessee game that he got hurt.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping he'll be full strength, ready to go by the beginning of the season, but he'll be back as well. So we've got that defense is shored up. I just, losing Stutzman, losing Bowman are obviously 2, and Ethan Downs, players like that, but we've got some players obviously coming in. And then Kendall Daniels, you were saying that he was better, you thought, than Lewis Carter?
Yeah. I don't know if he's better. I think he's a better athlete, but he's just as good. And so losing Carter, I think, is why we got him. I think if Carter would have stayed, probably wouldn't have got this Daniel kid. But he was a really good player for Oklahoma State, even though they had a terrible defense. But I think their coordinator was so bad at OSU last year that they didn't really play people in the right positions. But from what I gather, he's just an incredible athlete. So he's going to be being that third guy with Lewis and McKenzie and him will probably be our 3 linebackers next year now.
Oh, definitely.
And Canick.
And then I know what's that?
And Canick.
Canick. Oh yeah, Canick too. Forgot all about him while he's in between tweets for him. Marvin Jones Jr., I know there's been some talk, this will be his 3rd team, that he hasn't really been the 5-star player that was expected out of him. I know I read several message boards from Florida State folks that were just like, all right, well, let him go. He didn't do a whole lot for us. I don't know whether or not it was the scheme, whatever, but hopefully Venables and his team will be able to light some fire under him and give him a new breath of fresh air for being being here with the Sooners. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. I remember his dad, Marvin Jones, that played for Florida State, linebacker back in the day. But what are your thoughts on him? I mean, do you think he's going to be? I mean, I guess there's no way of knowing, but third team that he's going to be with already. How big is that for him to be with us? I mean, because he's not going to be playing, I don't think, every single down.
Just enough
anyone
lead on the line and a rusher. I mean, we had to get somebody, whether he starts or not. I mean, Ethan Downs was out there. We lost Trace Ford in that same position.
Mm-hmm.
To grab somebody with some experience, an athlete. I mean, I kind of, as much as these players even like to move around. I mean, if he doesn't make it at OU, and he went to Georgia, Florida State, and OU, I mean, who would want him next? And so I could see it kind of going, all right, this is my last stop. I got a chance to make it. And so, we'll see. I mean, I've never seen him play. I've heard of him, but I've never seen him play.
Not me either. Yeah. Yeah.
It's his last chance.
Florida State's trash, so I can't really blame them there.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were ripping on us, and I'm like, well, you guys stink too. So I mean, it's not like
they're even worse than we are. But I think if anybody can get something out of him, it's going to be Venables. So I think he'll be a good addition. Somebody saw something in him at some point, so let's be the ones to bring that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Clay, we talked a little bit about it briefly last week, but you weren't on here. Any concern at all that the Oklahoma Sooners are getting more, players that are from little smaller colleges and these big colleges? Any concern at all with that?
Yeah, I mean,
or do you think they're just are they trying to spend their money wisely?
I mean, I think there's part of that. You just had a ton of receivers you had to replace. And I mean, it looked like to me they went with production more than a name, and which I like, honestly.
Sure, of course.
But you got the guy that was a leading receiver in the FCS coming in, the second leading receiver for Arkansas, the guy from Cal that you just mentioned. I mean, they all had some numbers last year, and I mean, I know that doesn't always mean everything, because I mean, look at Bauer Sharp.
Sure.
Coming in from the small school, and he was terrible. But I mean, that just seems to me the route that they're going with that, and just probably pretty much centering everything around Deion Burks, and then hope these other guys can at least get open, because we didn't have that last year.
Well, yeah, definitely. Burks coming back is huge, and then if Gibson can come back and be healthy and actually play and be, that's another huge win for us, because he missed the whole entire year as well. So we'll see. It'll be fun to see. Well, I say it'll be fun. I may be frustrated next year still, but can't wait. I mean, the schedule doesn't get any easier. I know Michigan we trade off Michigan for, I think, was it Houston, Michigan, and it's kind of a trade off there. Luckily, Michigan's coming here, but it'll still be a tough schedule, and we'll see how it all transpires. Kellen, you got anything else about OU? All right. Let's talk a little bit, since Oklahoma Sooners are basically a lot of the main topic we talk about. Sure. We want to talk about some Oklahoma City Thunder. I know they're riding a 15-game winning streak, not counting, obviously, the loss, because that did not count against Milwaukee in the tournament that was played. We've won 15 games straight. Huge. This team is on fire. They just they just defeated Boston yesterday, beat the Knicks a couple nights before that. Hardenstein, I believe, is 18-1 starting with this team. I think the only loss was maybe against Houston, if I'm not mistaken. What are your all's thoughts? I mean, we're 30-5, and I believe I've looked it up. I mean, we're on pace for almost 70 wins, or maybe right at 70. What are your thoughts? I mean, we're doing a lot of this damage without Chet and without Caruso. What do you think?
I think this team is fantastic. I think Shea is the best player in the league.
Oh, yeah.
I think for the last 2 years he's been. But I think we just have one of the most well-rounded teams and just young, hungry hoopers. Like these guys are just going out there and
phenomenal,
having fun. It's just a team. Like I always point out to people, it's like Shea has never scored 50, but it's because he could drop 50 every day if he wanted with his play style. But he just gets that whole team involved, and that whole team is just ridiculous. So I think, yeah, if we can stay healthy and everybody we get once Chet and Caruso come back, like I don't know if there's really anybody that can stop us. I think the most competitive team will be the Celtics. And I don't think every game, if we met them in the finals, I don't think it'd go like yesterday every game. But like this team is exciting to watch.
Clay, what do you think?
Yeah, the defense is just unbelievable. I mean, I
know.
I mean getting Hardenstein was exactly what they needed to shore up the rebounding. It's crazy. I mean, we play Cleveland on Wednesday. That were literally three best teams in the East, back to back to back, and so is that at Cleveland?
Yeah, it's at Cleveland this game.
So, I mean, we're going to lose at some point to somebody. But it just so we'll see what that game's like. That's on national TV, so I'm excited to get to watch it and not have to pay for it. But
exactly.
So we got to get Chet back and get him back in the flow, because I don't know with a healthy Mavericks team if we can beat them without Chet and Hardenstein, just because we still don't have the rebounding just with Hardenstein. I mean, and the Mavericks they're hurting right now too with Luka. Golden State, when they get better, I mean, with Buddy Hield and they'll be good. Obviously, you got the Nuggets, who I think they just kind of play around and then wait till the playoffs. But I mean, I still think we're better than all them. But we've got to. I hope this isn't the peak, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
But that's my only fear is we're just playing so good right now. It's like you can't keep this pace up. So where are we going to be when April hits?
Yeah, I know we play Cleveland twice in the next, I think, close to a week, maybe 8 to 9 days. Once here, once there. They're 31-4. I mean, they're the best team, by record currently in the NBA. But it's just amazing what this team has accomplished. And I think they held the Celtics to like 27 or 29 points in the second half, which is just unheard of, because once again, like this team, they get behind, and I just don't think they're going to be able to afford a lot of that in the playoffs. And what I mean by behind, like we're talking a lot of double digits being behind. I know the Knicks were putting it to them pretty good until they finally came back. Same thing with Boston yesterday, and I just don't want to obviously have that to happen during the playoffs. And I know it's the games move back and forth, and there's runs that teams make, but that's my biggest concern currently for the Thunder. Now, I know, just looking at some of these stats, Kenrich Williams is a 45% three-point shooter right now. Now, granted, it's not like he's taking a whole bunch a game. He's averaging three attempts or two attempts a game, but he's he's got 45%. I know AJ Mitchell is 43%, Dort 40%, Wiggins almost at 40%. Chet's at 38, Shea's at 36. So if that 3-point shot is falling down, I think they're going to be tough to beat. But I know some of these games that they've lost. I know they lost to, I think it was back-to-back to San Antonio and Dallas, or Dallas, San Antonio. And I don't think some of the starters for either team were playing. I don't think Wemby played for San Antonio, and I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think Luka played in that game against Dallas, and they were both back-to-back. We lost those games. I know we lost one to Golden State. We lost to Houston. I can't remember.
But I think that's
the other game.
Or Hardenstein, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. I think that was the time when they didn't have either playing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, but it'll be fun. Can't wait for the playoffs to start, but I know that's a ways away, and there's a lot that can happen. Pray that they stay injury-free I don't know what's going on with Caruso, but I also am concerned about Chet. Hopefully he does come back. It's just one of these injuries that I guess not a whole lot of people have a whole lot of experience with. So we'll see. It's coming up on those 10 weeks, though, that they said they were going to reevaluate him in 10 weeks. But he is doing some stuff right now. I don't think he's, obviously playing one-on-one or anything like that, but he is up and moving now, which is a good thing. So we will see regarding that. All right. Another big topic that myself and Kellen love to talk about is the NFL. We haven't talked a whole lot of NFL. And it's playoff time. I will just tell you, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, they stink. They've continued to stink since late 90s, early 90s. I mean, not early 90s, but late 90s, right after Switzer left. I mean, they've had some good and bad, good seasons, but they just never have been able to get over the hump. They're terrible. They stink. So let's just get that out of the way. All right. But let's talk about the playoffs and the playoff games. Anything this season, before we talk about the playoff games, anything this season surprise you with anything, with teams, with players, anything at all that you want to talk about real quick?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me is the Vikings, because
definitely.
I put Sam Darnold as, I can't remember, but 30, 31, or 32 of worst quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, he wasn't even the starter. He was the backup.
Yeah, that's so, like, once McCarthy, or whatever his name is,
JJ,
once he got hurt, like, that's when I was like, all right, the Vikings are done.
I agree. I thought the same thing.
That's the biggest shocker to me, but I also just, I don't know, the whole Detroit Minnesota thing is just one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Like, two teams 14-2 going into the last game of the regular season, and neither team has their division locked up, let alone the first seed. Like, that was insane.
Okay. Clay, anything with you?
I'd say the Falcons as a team should have been way better than they were. And that was kind of a shocker to me. Just Kirk Cousins, and they just kind of but I think probably the biggest surprise to me was the Commanders. I just never saw a rookie quarterback coming in like he did, and making,
lit it up.
What were they, 11-5 when they ended up, which is
11 and was it 6 maybe 11-6 now because 17 games. Yeah
11-6. So
I think it could have been 12-5. I don't think you're right though. They were good.
Yeah.
I found myself, to be honest with you, as a Cowboy fan, I rooted for Washington yesterday because I want Dallas to get a better draft pick. Don't know why, because it's not like it's probably going to help us any at some point. But until Jerry Jones decides to give up, he's never going to. But I'm just saying, like, if he were able to give up the general manager position, but even at that, I think they'll still be messed up because I don't think his son Steven will give it up either. And I just think that the culture there is tough. I don't know, things that shocked me. I mean, I still think, even though I thought they were going to be okay, but Denver, Bo Nix, I thought he had a pretty good season. I know some people bust my chops about it, but I think Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are two of the bright stars of the future. I'm hoping, and one thing I said about Bo Nix at the beginning of the year when we were doing our quarterback rankings, I said he played a lot in college, and I think that helps with taking that many snaps. I know Bill Parcells, that's one of the things, he would never draft a quarterback that didn't play very much in college. He always made sure he drafted somebody that had experience and played. Not a guy that had a one huge year. What's that?
Jaden Daniels played a lot of snaps too.
Yeah, he played a lot of snaps as well, and that's what I'm saying. You see some of these guys that didn't play nearly as many, and I'm not saying that's the whole reason, but there some of them will struggle. That had huge, like, 1 year wonders. So we'll see. And then Cincinnati's one of those teams that I think they're so much better than they really are. I don't think their defense was that great, but I think they're better than what their record shows. But they always start off very slow, it seems like, and they had to try to come on at the end. I think they may have won 5 games at the end, but they put themselves too big of a hole. They couldn't get out of it. So that was kind of a shocker to me as well. And then I mean, talking about Chiefs, I just think that I don't know how did they only lose, twice, I guess, now since yesterday. I don't know how, because it wasn't like they were just putting up points like they had in the past. I know their defense is a lot better than it has been. But Mahomes, I took him pretty high in the fantasy league that we're in, and he was like I think I looked up like top 10, but he's like number 10, I think, as a quarterback. So big difference there. Big difference. But let's talk about the playoffs, going into it real quick.
Playoffs.
And who do you guys like? I know Saturday we got 2 matchups. Looks like the Los Angeles Chargers will be at Houston, and Pittsburgh will be at Baltimore. Who do you see winning those games right now? The Chargers are favored by 3, and Baltimore is favored by 9.5 against Pittsburgh.
I think with the way the Texans have been playing, that the Chargers win that game. I think the Texans should be a better team, but they just haven't really not been playing well this last half of the year. And I think the Ravens, I think they should destroy the Steelers.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you on both takes.
That was exactly what I almost say, word for word, what I would say. Texans are playing bad. Chargers a little bit shocking. I didn't think they would be as good this year, but Harbaugh's done a good job. And then Pittsburgh, they've lost 4 straight? Lost their last 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
Terrible. I don't know what's happened to C.J. Stroud, but he's regressed a little bit this season. And he was much better, I think, last season. He's regressed as the season went on.
That sophomore slump that a lot of guys have. But
it has unfortunate.
It has been shocking.
He lost Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. That doesn't help.
True.
Yeah, but last year he lost Tank and Nico, and he was still put that team on his back for a while. But maybe it's just we had lower expectations last year than this year. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, they played a tougher schedule, obviously, I think, this past season.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the Sunday matchups. We've got Denver at Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 8.5. What are your thoughts on that game?
I don't think it should be close. I think
I like Buffalo all the way.
Buffalo should win this game hands down. I think Denver. Good for them for getting here with their rookie quarterback, but I just don't. They shouldn't stand a chance. But
you never know. Injury wise, yeah.
I go with Buffalo. But it's going to be closer than the experts say.
Closer than the 8.5. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Buffalo in this game. As long as everybody, it's all, when we're talking about this, it all makes sense where we're talking people stay healthy. I like Buffalo. I think Buffalo is extremely good football team. And hopefully we'll talk about that a little bit, my other thoughts on them. All right. Green Bay at 3:30 on Sunday goes to Philadelphia, and the line is Philadelphia by 4. Now, if Green Bay would have won yesterday, would that have flip-flopped? Would have Washington played Philadelphia? Mm-hmm. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yes. Bucks were supposed to have the 4th seed, and then randomly they went straight into the 3rd.
So they're probably like, what in the world? What are your thoughts on that game?
Philadelphia is playing good. I'm going to go with Philadelphia. Christian Watson looks like he's probably done. And then Jordan Love looked like his funny bone on his throwing arm. So I think he'll get through that. But I think, I don't know, but Green Bay just seems always to get one of those random wins in the playoffs every year. But I'm still going to go with Philadelphia. I'm back.
Yeah, I think
he's back.
Philadelphia should win as long as Hurts plays. They're acting like there's that he hasn't cleared concussion protocol, but the team didn't practice today at all.
He's playing.
He wasn't going to practice, but with Watson out done for the year, Jordan Love a little banged up, but I do agree. Somehow they always find a way to make it further than they should, but Philadelphia should win this hands down.
Yeah, I'm not.
Saquon is the best in the NFL.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of the Eagles. I do like them a little bit better since Hurts plays for them, but I do think that they're honestly probably one of the better teams, possibly not still the best team in the NFC. Speaking of Saquon, real quick, do you think he should have been allowed to play that last game of the season to try to break the record? And had he broken the record, would you look at it as, hey, he's the record holder? I mean, even though he would be, but it was 17 games versus you're talking 16 by Dickerson, which of course 14 by OJ. What are your thoughts?
I mean, he had going into the game, he would have had 34 less carries than Dickerson. So I think if he could have done it within 34 carries, I'd say, yeah, like there's no argument at that point. The 17, then it's like, all right, it was bound to happen at some point, but carrying the ball less, I think, and just I'm not going to say it wasn't impressive by Dickerson, but like we just don't see that output by running backs anymore since Adrian Peterson.
No, you don't.
So like seeing something like this, like it doesn't happen with the way it's a pass first like NFL right now. So like I don't know. I would have loved to. I really think they probably gave him the choice to play. Because there was one game, I can't remember what record he was about to break, and the coach asked him if he wanted to go back in and do it, and he said, "No, let the other guys play." So like I think it was smarter, as cool as it would have been to break that record. I think, like, because if they lose Saquon, I love Hurts and the whole team, but if they lose Saquon, it's a big hit to that team going into the playoffs. So I think it was the smarter move.
How close was it?
Sure,
How many?
It was 100 and something, a little bit over 100 yards difference. But I mean, who knows if he would have hit it? I mean, most likely, probably would have.
He probably would have. It could have taken him 4 quarters, or him. Yeah. It could have taken him 1 80-yard run, and then he's out by the middle of the second quarter. But I don't know. I don't think it's worth the risk with everything on the table right now. If they needed to win the game too, like obviously that's different, but it's like the game didn't matter. Just going healthy.
Yeah, let's look at it real quick. Eric Dickerson had 2105. Saquon had 2005. So basically, right at 100 yards, I guess. I didn't realize it was that close. This is something I'm looking at, whether or not this is accurate or not.
I'm pretty sure that's right because I was thinking 2005.
Because Adrian Peterson missed it by 9 yards.
8 yards, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
In the day. Clay, you think he should have played?
No, I wouldn't have played him.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have either.
Everybody's goal is to win the Super Bowl, and like Kellen,
correct.
Got hurt or worn out, tired, not been able to practice this week because he got dinged up.
Can you imagine?
You're like
people would have roasted these guys.
If they had the 1 seed and it's like, all right, he still gets a week off.
Yeah.
Maybe then. And still risk of a big injury, but it's like, all right, he can. But yeah,
sure.
Those guys want to win. Poor Saquon has not won anything because wasted all that time with New York. So I think he's wanting to win, and he was the missing piece on that offense, I think.
No, I agree.
So
let's go to the go ahead.
I say the Cleveland Browns could have drafted Saquon and Baker in the same year.
That's why they're the Cleveland Browns.
Instead, they went Baker, Ward, and then they
got I remember that
second round, which he hasn't been bad, obviously.
Yeah, he's been fine. So we'll go to the late game on Sunday night. Washington at Tampa Bay. Washington, I looked it up, was 12-5 this season. Tampa Bay's favored by 3. I'm obviously for Tampa Bay because I love me some Baker Mayfield, but I'm not going to lie, I love Jaden Daniels as well. I think Tampa Bay, golly, man, I think they've got a good shot since it's at home. But I would not be surprised if Washington pulls this win out.
It's hard to say. I love Baker, and I think that team is doing great. It's just the Buccaneers the Commanders are just explosive. I'm not going to be shocked either way, but I'm going to say Buccaneers do pull this one off. I just don't see them making a run.
This might be.
They just have to play so many tough teams in a row. But I think they can pull it off against the Commanders at least.
Yeah, this will be a fun game to watch. I'm going to go with Buccaneers, but Baker's going to have to probably drive down at the end, kick a field goal to win or something like that. It's going to be so close.
Sure. And he can't afford to turn the ball over either.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they are going to be in trouble. All right. And then
because the way Baker
go ahead.
he didn't make the Pro Bowl and Jaden Daniels did.
Yeah.
I think that's what will motivate him to play good.
Yeah. He plays very good when he's got his chip on the shoulder for sure. And then there's actually a Monday night playoff game. You got the Vikings at the Los Angeles Rams. And the Minnesota is actually favored currently by 1.5 points in this game. How do you see that playing out? I guess to me, it all depends on which Sam Darnold shows up.
I don't think it's even close. I think the Vikings destroy them. The Rams don't belong here. Like, they're just in a they got blessed with a terrible division this year. Like, I think the Rams are the worst team in their division. They got lucky. I don't think it's even close. I think they are a terrible team, and the Vikings will be playing Detroit in a couple weeks.
I am going to pick the Rams because I think the Vikings looked horrible on Saturday or Sunday. Darnold looked terrible. I think they're going to be pressing. Darnold's going to try so hard knowing I'm probably not going to be the starting quarterback next year if I lose this game. And I'm going to get traded to the Raiders or something stupid like that. And I don't know. I just have a feeling the Rams are going to win.
Yeah, I want Minnesota really bad. I'm going to pick them just because my heart, even though it's in LA, so I think that being in Los Angeles does give them, in my opinion, a little bit of an advantage. And it all depends to me on which Sam Darnold shows up. The guy that played yesterday, they have no shot. I mean, he was off his game. He looked rattled, and the Rams are going to try to rattle him as well. But we'll see. It'll be an interesting football game. Excuse me. All right. So, speaking of NFL, real quick, let's talk about one thing that I think came up that was pretty interesting. Bill Belichick made a comment on a TV station show, I guess, this past week, that he thinks the NFL should adopt a a lottery system for the teams that aren't in the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that? Kind of like the NBA. Because Kellen and I were talking about this off air, and we talked about maybe, I don't know, 10, maybe there's 8, 10 teams in the lottery, because you can't put everybody that didn't make the playoffs in the lottery. But Clay, what are your thoughts? Would you like to see a lottery system so help with the tanking? Obviously the higher you are in the with wins, you have a less chance. I don't know if it's how basically kind of the NBA does it, but what are your thoughts?
I definitely see, and I think that would help. However, I think in the NBA, you can draft a Victor Wembanyama and your team can turn around with the number 1 pick.
True.
It's much, much harder to do that in the NFL.
Very hard.
And so getting the number 1 pick in the NFL, I mean, look at the Bears. They were just as bad, even though they got the number 1 pick. So I just don't see it making that big of the Patriots really screwed up this weekend. They could have had the number 1 pick because at least they get to choose who they want to get. But they just got Drake May, so they probably wouldn't have got him a quarterback. They probably wouldn't have picked Shadur. They might have got Travis Hunter, but I don't think Travis Hunter is not going to turn the Patriots around in 1 year. But Victor Wembanyama will turn the Spurs around in 1 year, or at least short time. So that's the only reason I would say I don't see it making a huge difference. But I mean, I think it would be cool, but it's weird seeing people like lose on purpose.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Like the Chiefs yesterday, that was ridiculous. Even though, Kellen?
I mean, I'd like to see it for the fact of not seeing teams lose on purpose and tank and all that. But while I do agree that one player can't turn a whole franchise around, I think sometimes, like if a random 10th seed or number 10, I mean, gets the first pick, like sometimes like it could actually, it's not going to turn them into a Super Bowl team, but it can turn them into a playoff
Speed the process
threat,
along.
at least. Like right now the Bears have number 10, so I don't know what that team needs. They need a new organization before they need a new player. But like I just think it'd be interesting to watch.
So let's say the Cowboys.
I'm tired of seeing.
They got.
What do you say?
You're right, because like if the Cowboys were in the lottery and got the number 1 pick out of this, and they draft a really really good defensive player or Travis Hunter, it's going to make a huge difference to a team like that. But the way it's set up, and that's what makes the NFL draft. Well, they're all like this, but what makes the NFL draft so good is that if you're bad, you get the good players. Up the next round. It's not a snake in or fantasy football league. It's
right.
number 1 and number 33, so to speak. And so that can make a difference real quick in a few years. And but if all of a sudden you're one or the worst team in the league, like the Titans, and you go drop down to number 4 or 5, and now you're getting, I got a really good guard. Okay, that's. So I don't know. I mean, to save the tanking, it's a good idea. But other than that, I would like it. I would like it if I was the number 5 team and got the number 1. But
of course.
I'm just tired of seeing the Browns wasting quarterbacks and ruining careers. Like,
I think don't they have like number 2?
They got number 2 again. Yeah. It's just like they're probably going to get either Shador or Cam Ward, unless there's some quarterbacks that go higher than I expect. But it's just all these teams that are consistently getting a top 5 pick. All right, you've had your chance. Like, you're terrible.
Yeah.
I was telling Kellen earlier today. I read a couple of different places that by the writer saying that Shador Sanders, from what they've heard, is not, like from several different NFL people, is not a first round NFL quarterback. So I don't know. We'll see. It could be a smokescreen that people are saying. We shall see.
Yeah.
All right, last question I've got. This is the little fun question that I like to ask. There's a question I'm going to ask, and then it's going to be 5 answers I'm going to give you, but you don't know what the answer is, so you're going to rank them 1 through 5, and it's your like some childhood memories. You're going to rank these childhood memories 1 to 5. So, and like as a child, like whenever you think of Halloween 1 through 5, where would you rank that?
5.
3.
Okay. Waking up on Christmas Day.
2.
1.
Yeah, Christmas Day was awesome, wasn't it? Like recreational sports, playing recreational sports. Where does that rank for you?
From childhood?
Yeah.
So what's a recreational sport?
Well, just like
unorganized,
just playing sport. Yeah, I'm for yourself. I'm not not Dallas or OU or anything, but you playing sports for yourself.
I'd say number 2.
Okay.
I'll probably say 1.
Okay. Last day of school. Kellen's like,
yeah.
Still fun, but I hadn't been doing school for months. So.
5.
Okay.
Fairly.
And then family vacations. What do you got left?
I got
3.
Is the rank pretty much what you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't think
I might move
pretty good.
Family vacations ahead of Halloween, but
I don't think I'd change mine. I might be able to swap sports and Christmas, but I do miss the baseball days.
For sure. You guys are pretty good. So, well, hey, the Foxx and Sports podcast would like to thank all of our listeners for taking time out of your day.
What was yours?
Mine? Well, mine would have been, honestly, Christmas is number 1 for me.
Did you run out of Tidy Whites and go, Santa came?
Yeah, no. Recreational sports or sports would have been number 2. Family vacations 3. Halloween probably 4, and last day at school 5, or vice versa. I don't know. That's kind of what I would have done. But hey, the Foxx and Sports podcast would like to thank all of our listeners again for listening to our podcast. Remember to join us, subscribe to us on YouTube. We've got over 8,500 subscribers now. So if you could be another one to add to it, that'd be great. You can watch our podcast. You can listen to it on different avenues. But one thing we want to remind everybody is iron sharpens iron. Please stay safe, be savage, not average, and remember to join the skulk. And one other thing, Kellen, is what?
Stay thirsty, my friends.
That's right. Stay thirsty, my friends. And until next time, thank you, Clay, for joining us today. Goodbye, everybody. Boomer.
Thank you for listening to the Foxx and Sports Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to our YouTube channel, Foxx and Sports. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Foxx and Sports and on Facebook at Foxx and Sports Podcast. You can also email us at foxandsports@yahoo.com. This has been Foxx and Sports.